Did you tally? Did you tally the cameras?
2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Hello to all my sexy people out there. This is Deanne Munoz, and welcome to Unleash Your Sex.
White shot.
Live.
Hi, it's Deanne Munoz, and welcome back to the Unleash Your Sexy. We are in Season 2, Episode 6. And I looked that up myself because they never know, the team members, what episode we're on.
How did I make it on Season 2? You've been waiting this whole time? I didn't even know you had a show. Okay, we've known each other for too long. I'm offended. Okay, I'm offended. I'm devastated. I don't know what to do with myself.
You know what? I think it's your carb diet. I think you need like a donut.
Yeah, maybe.
Or some peanut M&Ms.
You already bamboozled me with snacks when I walked in. You have nothing but sugar in here, okay? And I'm a little amped up right now, okay?
No, I didn't. Well,
and no, I didn't do any cocaine before I got here. God. Jeez.
Yeah, he was like, I'm gonna eat a banana. I was like, who eats bananas? I've never had someone come eat a banana.
Somebody that's trying to stay away from carbs, okay?
Yeah, I know.
I'm trying to be sexy.
It's cute. I think it's cute that he's actually like my first...
Ooh, first what?
Guess that was actually like, I'm not trying to eat carbs.
Oh, I thought you were going somewhere completely different with that. I was like, first guess that did what?
Oh,
we apologize.
Oh, eat a banana?
We apologize for the
banana.
The delay, guys. Deanne was having some trouble wrangling her outfit around her breastises, and
yes,
I felt like the whole time, like they're just trying to like do their job, and they're like, God damn it, man, we're doing as best we can. I think her boobs are like, oh my God, like what the fuck, like what are we doing here, like hi, is the camera good? Is it like light on me? And they're like just nip slip out like left and then right.
It literally was, but the right one's more dominant than the left one.
Yeah.
This one dominates this one and tells this one how to do things and when to do them and at what time to do it.
So it's like, I'm the leader, bitch. She's like, I don't care. Okay? Where are we going? Where's the paparazzi at? What are we doing? Is there a flash on that camera? Oh my God, selfie time. I feel bad for the dress because the dress is like just doing the best it can. It's like, God, fuck, damn, I gotta make it work. It's just slipping this way. You can just see him pulling over there and he's like, ah! He's trying so hard.
So can you be my partner tonight?
I am your partner.
If you see it like slightly inching,
I'll kick you right in the knee.
inching over, let me know, like tap me or slap me or
this will be the Easter egg
choke
episode.
me, whatever you need to do. Just make sure this one does not flip out.
No, this will be a good episode because then like the viewers the whole time are gonna be trained on your breastises, just like looking at it like, oh my God, it's gonna slip. Like they told me it was gonna slip.
Well, then I'll probably get the most viewers for sure.
Exactly. So you're welcome for putting that out there and telling all you guys what to look for. Okay? Yes, I do have your back. I am a professional wingman. This is what I do for a living.
Yes, you do. Okay, so we have special guests.
Jared. My mom was retarded. She just spelled it a little weird. She's like, I think that's how it's spelled in the Bible. No, bitch, that's not how it's spelled in the Bible.
Is it a Bible name?
Yeah. It means
what
fallen
does it mean?
one. It means it was
fallen one, like Satan, like the bad one.
It was in reference
the naughty boy
to like angels that fell from heaven or some shit like that. But it also means he who shall rule in a different thing, but like I don't know which one is true.
Just run your own world, your own domination, your own.
Yeah, I mean you can look it up, and there's several different
like your own covenant.
There's one that we also said it means spear, but like I don't know if they're taking that from like the original like Hebrew, or if they're taking that from Aramaic, or if they're taking that from I think it would be Hebrew, or if they're taking that from like I think there was a name for Jerod in like a Swedish tongue or whatever. Like I don't know what that was, Gaelic.
So you're Swedish now?
No, but like I mean, I do look more like that than I do like Jewish. So you know, I don't know where the name specifically, like the name originated.
Maybe you're from the Milkman.
What's that?
Maybe you're from the Milkman.
From the Milkman?
Yeah.
No, I look. My mom, and my dad look like they'd be brother and sister. It's kind of creepy.
That is creepy.
But
that is completely creepy.
I actually have a theory on this. I actually sat down and I started observing that couples that I was working with, a lot of them that worked out and like were happy and were monogamous, or even people in open relationships, but couples that were working out, if you look real close, they look like they would be brother and sister. Yeah. No, it's creepy. It's creepy, but it's also like it's weird because we like what's like us, right? We kind of go for traits and genetics that are like ours.
Really? You think so?
I see that, but then I also see people who like completely date outside their race, ethnicity. They look completely different. So there's some of that, but like I'm noticing more and more that couples that really get along, like they're really working well. Like I look at them and I'm like,
okay, so,
you look like you could be brother and sister.
Okay, so on that note, do you think that's because it's kind of like they're like two friends and they just happen to get along because they're okay?
I think they're just fucking narcissists.
You know, like they're like, oh my god, we look like we should be friends and like together hang out and just be like live in this make believe world, as opposed to like I want to date my opposite.
So I think I think in general they're actually you're no matter what you look like, right? You've had to look in a mirror and like reconcile that. So even if you're ugly or even if you have like off tendencies, like off traits that wouldn't be traditionally attractive, you've had to learn to love yourself. And you've had to learn to look for the little parts of you that you find or that you would kind of embody or exude and say, hey, like, you know, I am like I've seen some dudes like look in the mirror and like, you know, they get all spiffed up and they're like, yeah. It's like at no point in your entire life in the history of mankind have you ever been handsome. But in this moment, like, you really think that you are.
I can tag a few guys I know on that one.
Right? So, like, but I mean, that's my opinion, right? If he meets a girl who kind of looks like him, then that's her standard of beauty, right? Her own, think that other people are more attractive and she'll be like, oh, that person's so beautiful. But she's had to learn to love herself. Right. So she's going to see him and think he's handsome and there's going to be a comfort there. But it's going to be she's going to be able to get close to him because she's not going to feel insecure, right? So when like a girl might see a guy that's like way out of her league, but like she won't even date him because he makes her feel uncomfortable.
That is 100% true.
That's why I'm a dating coach. What, bitches?
Oh my God, that is so true. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to real quick.
Back to my introduction.
You know, like
so
when I was like in the caveman days when I was in my 20s, I used to do like auditions for commercials.
And like guys used to just conk you on the head and slide you into their trailer.
God, please. Yes, please. Where is he? Yeah. I'm still searching for him.
I got a club in the truck.
I mean, nowadays they call it domestic violence, but it's okay. And I remember going to an audition. It was like a Budweiser commercial.
It's only domestic violence if she screams in a not naughty way.
Oh, and she says no, correct. Yeah. Yes.
But like sometimes no means yes, so that, you know, you gotta keep that.
It's pissed.
You gotta use like a non-lethal club. I don't know.
Non-lethal definitely non-lethal. I need to breathe the next day, for sure.
Yeah.
And I remember like walking into this Budweiser commercial, and it was an open audition, right? And literally, like, we had like every freaking GQ model, like 6'3", like dark black eyes, like chiseled chin and like their cheekbones and jawbone were crazy, and they were just fucking standing there. I was like.
And like terrified your vagina, you had to run real quick.
I was thinking, wait, this is like a Budweiser commercial. Like, why are these guys here? But they got there. I remember this one guy walked in, the whole room, even the guys stopped breathing. Everyone was like, and we watched him just walk across the room. They called his name, he went in, and I was like, now, I'm the type of girl, if I want something, I'm going to go get it. And all I knew was there was tons of beautiful models, like 6 feet models, 90 pounds, and I'm over here Latina, I'm a little bit thicker. But I was just like,
I'm going to get that.
Oh, I want him.
I'm going to get that dick.
And literally, he walked out of the audition, walked outside. I walked behind him. I was like, hi, what's your name? Got his number, talked to him, and we went out.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How'd it work out? How did that one?
You know what? Unfortunately, there wasn't much substance. Like, literally at dinner, like, I knew at dinner, like, within, like, 20 minutes of dinner, like, even when we got home, like, he was that hot, I couldn't even sleep with him. And that's rare for me. That's rare for me.
Too hot, you couldn't even sleep with him. Tell me more about that.
No, because there was no substance.
Or he's a dingbat.
There was no, Yeah. Literally.
Dingbat. That word needs to make a comeback.
It was so upsetting to me. Like, I was trying so hard, like, I was hoping there was going to be this, like, passion and connection and, like, we could, like, connect. But nothing he said. He was just like, hi.
He's like, do you think you should get Botox in my lips?
No, like, that was the, like, That was like the maximum of our conversation, and I literally was like,
it's so sad Instagram wasn't invented back then. There's always been a need for narcissism.
You're so cute. Just sit there and just be quiet. I felt like just be quiet, and I might have sex with you later.
Yeah, you're much prettier when you don't speak.
Talking. That's literally like, so I get it now when guys are like, well, I want a smart woman. And I'm like, most men kind of like, they'll smash anything. But for a woman, like, it really was like, I think it's the first time, like, I probably haven't smashed somebody because there was just zero substance.
Were you attracted to him initially because he kind of looked like you? Because I don't know if you look in the mirror.
That's interesting.
You're kind of an attractive girl. So.
And he was from Brazil. And he barely even spoke English.
Dark features, you said.
Dark skin, dark eyes, dark hair. Mm-hmm. Looked like mysterious and exotic. Mm-hmm. But once we actually sat to dinner, like, he could not hold a conversation.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing. There's literally nothing to talk about. Yeah. And I literally was like, gosh, like, when's this date gonna end?
Yeah, I know a lot of girls who are like, they won't even, like, if they find a guy who's, like, attractive or whatever, they'll say, I won't even go after him. And there are a number of different reasons. I've heard girls say something like, oh, I don't want to worry about hanging on to him. I don't want to worry about him trying to fuck other girls. But most often I've heard girls are like, I don't want to be disappointed. He's great right there in my mind. And I feel like women deal with that a lot, where they're like, they go up and they talk to somebody and like it's like a roll of douche just like flops out of their mouth. And they're like, it's like a red carpet of douchery. And I hear that a lot from women, where they're like, oh, I don't want to be disappointed, so I'm not gonna actually go talk to this person. I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
But what happened?
And I'm hearing feedback.
Oh. Yeah, guys.
What am I hearing? Oh, you have me on?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like, I can hear myself.
Yeah, we're just making sure the audio's good.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I can hear myself.
Oh, so this isn't live, or it is?
It's live, yeah.
Okay, now we're back, guys.
And back, you guys. Okay, so we have Jerod, comedian, author, and coach.
Yeah.
So I really, really want to get into, because the main audience that are watching are men. There's some women out there, and I'm so excited to help them.
I know. I saw some of your guests. I was like going through your Instagram, and I was like, oh, there's a hot dude and like another hot dude, like another like hot dude after hot dude. And like I was laughing because like I know how many guys are probably on your Instagram just like dick in hand, like, yeah, who's the next guest gonna be? And they're like, oh, God damn it, just stop having these fucking hot dudes on here. Like I feel their pain, you know.
I'm sure some of them are like, oh, I'm gonna follow him.
Yeah, maybe.
Does he have an OnlyFans? Let me know.
Dude, I hear about it more and more. Like so many of my fucking girlfriends are like, oh my God, my boyfriend wants to be fucked in the ass by like a 9-inch dildo, and I'm like, what? Like what? Like I fucking have never heard of this. And then all of a sudden, like the last 3 years, like all of these fucking girlfriends of mine are like, oh my God, like I think my boyfriend's a little gay on the side. I think he wants to suck your dick. And I'm like, no, never in the fucking like, dude, it's getting like 2020 now. We've reached the age where like guys with bi tendencies are just they've just
everywhere.
Released the fucking Kraken, and now they're out there with their little tentacles out, just like, hey, what's up? What's up?
No, it's definitely, I feel because it's 2020 that now it's more acceptable. Where like guys that were straight can kind of be a little more bi now.
Yeah,
where they're
like,
okay, they kind of come out the closet a little bit, and like maybe like it's not so taboo as it used to be.
Yeah, it's not taboo
but
at all.
I can honestly say in the last 5 years, like I've gone on quite a few dates with a lot of people who I ended up finding out later on were like interested.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm always like skeptical now, like, you're so pretty. Like, are you gay? Are you straight? Like, that's, you know? And I know it can offend people too. Because they'll
I have
be
to
like,
be a little careful because, like, I've had clients, like, kind of come out and be like, oh, I think, and I'm like, oh, that's great, you know, as a coach. But then there's the part of me that's a coach, and there's a part of me that's a comedian. And so, like, I live in this, like, okay.
It's like, you like it black or you like it white? 12 inches or 9 inches?
I just can't believe how many of my girlfriends have told me that, like, they're like, no, not a little dildo. I mean, they're talking like a fucking big ass 9-inch cock, and they're fucking their boyfriends with it. And I'm like, what the fuck happened to, like, I get it if it's like a finger up the ass, like Like that used to be the taboo thing back when I was. Now all of a sudden 2017, 2018 rolls around and people are just like, nah, man, strap it on there, fucking pile drive me. And I'm like, what? What? And like
Pile drive.
Dude, it's
I'm not
unreal.
even tall enough to pile drive a guy.
And like, I also want to say, as a coach, if that's what you like in your dating life, I fully support that.
Yeah,
and
own
if you want to take,
like, come out the closet and own that shit. That's
but
what
I'm
you like.
If you like taking, dick when a girl's doing it, like you might just skip that and go right to the guys. Just just go for it, okay?
Like, life's so short. Life is so short. Just go that way.
It is. It is.
Like, be you. Like, enjoy your life. Be you. Live it to the fullest. And
and you're
forget
only
what the
going to
fuck
be
people think
marginally
of you.
attractive for a very slim number of years, and just you have to. Like most people have a very short window.
Unless you're Mama D.
I know you literally never aged. You look at the exact same. I see your videos.
Well, I might be a vampire.
Ah, okay.
Maybe. Just maybe.
She's like, no, she was fucking Edward from Twilight. That's what happened.
No,
She's
Damon.
like, what are you doing?
From the Vampire Diaries.
Oh, see, I was right. I didn't even know I was right.
I'm in love with Damon, dear Damon. I think this show was out, 7 years ago? This show was out 7 years ago. I just discovered it this year.
They have another vampire. I feel like they have 6 or 7 running vampire shows for the last 5 decades. There's millions of them.
I haven't watched any of them, but I'm watching this one. And oh, okay. So ding,
Segue.
ding, 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 ding. Can we get some
Segue.
sound effects? Okay, real quick, we are gonna go into our sponsorship. Welcome everybody to Unleash Your Sexy. We have an opportunity for you and your company to be seen by over 4 million, 95% male audience, the other 5% women, to promote your company, your business, your studios, your singing, whatever it is you have. So our first sponsors we have tonight is Mean Girl Lashes. Up, down, up, down.
In case you need to show a bitch what's up.
Okay. And Mean Girl Lashes, thank you for coming through by Yasmin Estrada. Tonight I am actually wearing some really heavy, hardcore lashes that they're called the plastics. Get it?
Yeah.
When strippers or porn stars are made of plastic, or other girls are made of plastics, it's called the plastics. So these are my eyelashes. Thank you. Shout out to Mean Girl Lashes. Can we get the website name up?
Yeah, you could use those as a self-defense weapon too. They're quite robust.
No, really. like if you even came next to me, I could just whack the fuck out of you.
Yeah, or just
with
peel
them.
one off and start cutting a bitch.
You know what? I bet you they would.
Yeah.
These are
Put some little razor blades in there.
Some very dramatic, thick, full, luscious lashes.
Yeah, no, I mean they're very rough.
Definitely.
They're robust.
So thank you to our sponsors, Mean Girl Lashes. If you would like to also have a spot on my podcast, which goes permanently on my YouTube, and we promote you also on my Instagram and Twitter and YouTube, reach out to me on my social media. We will have an email address available, and you can get your own sponsorship slot. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have a fun topic, which is a topic that I read on your website, and it's a topic that I have my own YouTube video, but it's a different spin than what you coach men. So I really want to hear this, because as a woman, this is really interesting, because I'm the type of woman where you cannot come back into my life.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's really interesting to hear, because I also think there are moments, of course, where somebody can come back into my life and certain situations. So I know you have a book called Methodology
of the Modern Man.
Methodology for the Modern Man, and in it, you're literally if you guys haven't seen the movie Hitch, you have to go watch it. It's hilarious. So he's like the modern day Hitch.
That's right, bitch.
Yes, okay. And with men, he can just get you on game. He can get you the woman that you want, all that good stuff. So I was on his website, like snooping around, and there was a part where he talks about with men, like how to get your ex back. So I thought that would be a fun topic today.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, like, what advice?
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk.
Let me just start with how it became.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah, because like
that's good.
That's
Okay.
a weird thing to like even do. So I started out as a dating coach that was just like I was awkward and I wrote a book. My book is actually very comedic. And this is before I even realized that I was comedic. The whole book has like pictures and it's real funny and there's jokes in it and like I made the book. I tailored it for my audience, which is men. Men do not want to sit and read a tome of super complicated, like they don't want to, yeah.
I'm a woman, I don't even want to.
Yeah, you
like,
don't want
the
to sit
smaller
there.
the book, the more the pictures and the colors, the easier it is for me to
Yeah,
read.
and like I feel like a lot of like authors are just kind of like a lot of authors, a lot of people like to hear themselves talk. So a lot of people like to read their own thoughts.
Like people with like these PhDs and these certified, like crazy certifications are like, they want to speak to you in these big fucking words like, bro, break it down and lay man and lay woman's term for
smart. Okay, I'm super smart. And he already says I'm not super smart. He's not smarter than me. Fuck you.
Literally, like,
Fuck you.
draw me a fucking picture and
Fuck you.
I watch it.
No,
Simple.
I guess so. Like I never saw a point in like doing things that were ineffective. And like when I put the book together, I was like, okay, cool. How can I make this the most effective thing ever? What would
Right.
or a sweatpant Asian has failed. No, like I really put this book together thinking like, okay, if I wanted to read a book on dating, I'd want to read something that had pictures in it and that had jokes in it and was something that like
Seriously, that's
each
exactly
page-
how I would love the book.
So each page is like something that you could just read and be like, oh wow, I'm gonna reflect on that for the day.
Right.
Made it super simple. That's what I did. So I like people thought that I was really good with women because like I was attractive and I dressed well, and then I started to break it. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't fucking hurt. But
There's more to that.
but like back to your point about the model guy that you went out with who had no
Right.
substance and
Yeah.
you didn't go on a second date with him.
Right.
There's obviously more to this. So I started to break this down to this like older guy who didn't get it and he was like a 50-year-old virgin and I was like, what? Like you're
50-year-old virgin?
Yeah, he was a legitimate 50-year-old and had never been with a woman. I realized later it was because he was retarded.
Okay,
But
go ahead.
yeah. So we went through that and I basically I was trying to help this guy. I was trying to figure the whole thing out. Like I was trying to explain to him how I got to where I was and like what I knew about dating and relationships. And basically like another guy was helping him and that guy happened to be like in the dating scene. And he approached me later and he was like, oh man, I didn't know you were a dating coach. And I was like, I'm not. And he was like, well, how did you know what you knew? And I was like, just trial and error experience. And he goes, dude, you're on par with some of the best dating coaches like in the world. He's like, well, you should write a book. So I wrote a book and 9 months later, my little book baby popped out, spread that out to the world. And, I started helping, once the idea had been set, then I started actually helping guys more. And the more I helped guys, the more I realized like, wow, yeah, I am actually really good at this. I actually do really understand female psychology really well. There actually are a lot of things.
Right.
And a lot of guys will say, oh, I'm not good looking, so I'm not going to try. And
Yeah, that's so lame. Because I've actually dated guys that weren't hot, but
Yeah, most
fucking
women have.
motherfuckers had fucking hell of, I guess the word we use, like swag.
yeah.
Like they were just like,
they got good
like
game,
very
they got confidence.
dominant, very confident, very like machismo. Like I love that. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to be with somebody I feel like I could just punk around.
And a lot of times women shoot for guys who aren't who are less attractive than maybe would be even their equal. Or they tend to shoot like for average or slightly above average because it's safe for them. A lot of women are very insecure and men don't realize that. They think, oh my God, she's all dolled up. And then they start worshiping the ground they walk on. They devalue themselves. Guys that don't worship the ground they walk on and don't devalue themselves, they're the ones that end up pushing through and then they tap right into that insecurity where women... All right. There's a fucking ghost in here, guys. And he is attacking. He is pissed off. So who did you break up with? And I feel like this is like one of your dead ex-boyfriends. He's like, God damn it.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
They're all dead to me. Hence why they're here.
I was doing like regular coaching, right, where I'm taking guys out and I'm helping them like relate with women. And I was doing that for a while. And then I kept getting hired by like I kept getting asked like, hey man, I'm going through this relationship, like, you know, me and it's like, do you do that? Like, could you help me win my ex back? And I was like, could I? Let me see. And I have a lot of experience with this. Like, I have a lot of exes that, like, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I've even done over the course of my life has been to win a couple girls back. So, oh, great. Okay. So I have a lot of experience with, like, kind of concocting these very, very complicated plans in order to woo women back. And they were very effective for me. And then when I started to use them for other people, it became more effective. So my response to you when you say, once you're out, you're dead to me, is like, game on. Like, I've sat down with people that,
I'll take that challenge.
They did more than you could ever possibly do to close that door. They're blocked on every social media channel that you can think of. There is no hope left. That's where people call me, and I can almost guarantee you that I can get you back in the game. Now, most people fuck it up. A lot of people go right back to their old shit and they fuck it up.
Right.
But I've sat down with people that had literally, they had, that coffin was nailed shut. It was thrown in the ocean. It was weighted down, and we managed to get them right out of that situation. Like, I do it all the time. Now, should you win your ex back? Not always. In fact, most times,
definitely,
it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Right?
No, thank you. I feel honestly like X is an X for a fucking reason. Well, like literally, A, you fucked up. B, you fucked up again. C, you fucked up.
Well, yes and no, because when you approach life with that mindset, right? Like we have this revolving door, right? We have this high value people, and they tend to be this revolving door. Well, we didn't used to have that. That's a new thing in human evolution. The idea that you could leave another human being, like once you settled down and had kids, you kind of had to work it out.
True.
So you're seeing what you're seeing
is... That was like 1920 patriarchal thinking.
Well, no, it wasn't necessarily patriarchy. It wasn't men just forcing this thing. It was like that the family unit worked that way. I mean, for women, too.
But I also feel, though, like the government is the one who told women how to act, when to speak. Your only job is to speak to, have babies, not be heard. You can't do this, you can't do that, which comes from the old school... I guess we could go back to the caveman thinking.
You're talking about like maybe like if you rewind 100 years and then you go back to like that time period, right, which was 100 years ago.
Exactly, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's where it originally comes from.
No, but if you follow that back into like tribal society and you go all the way back through human history, you find that like it's not as maniacal and as patriarchal and as terrible and as horrible and as oppressive as it's made. Like we lived in a very, very violent, very crazy, very difficult world. And
today, of course.
No, back then. I mean, man, like we don't have a lot of time to go.
Were you here in the 1940s?
No. I'm talking.
And if you are,
yeah.
Do you believe in reincarnation?
I'm talking about like all the way back, like if you go back through human existence, I think it's a really bad thing to look at it as this one-sided, like men were just dominating and oppressing women. Like we were a team, we were working through stuff together. Men loved women. I'm not saying that men weren't cruel. I'm not saying that women weren't psychopaths. There were definitely bad things on both sides. But I think it's a mistake to look at history as this like one-sided, oppressive, patriarchal, like. And I go
really,
yeah, I go on and on about that.
What do you think about that, Jess? Where he was saying saying how like we were brought up like obviously through caveman days, through the 20s, 40s, 60s. They're like, okay, when one gets married, she has kids, she doesn't work, she cooks and she cleans, and that's all she does. She's not to be said or heard. Okay, but he's saying like it wasn't like that.
Well, you go to a tribal society, you look at it like this, like men had to go out and they had to meet nature head on. Right. They had to take down wild animals they would go out and they'd break down rocks to create weapons out of sticks.
Correct.
And then they would go out and they would go and they would try and kill another animal, and like it would take a whole tribe of people to kill. Like there's a scene in Apocalypto where it kind of illustrates this.
Right.
And then you look at the, when back at the village or whatever, you've got, the women there with the children, and they're not just sitting there going, oh my God, do you fucking like my nails? Like, they made all the clothing that everyone wore. They took care of all of the kids. Like, we wouldn't exist.
Now, if I was out that time, I definitely would have with the bow and arrow and the knife and been like, where the fuck's that motherfucking tiger? I'm going out with you, motherfucker.
Yeah, and I mean, some women, like, but you'll see it
I was like, I'll pass. Can I just get a massage from the kids massaging my feet?
But in those, in that kind of society, I mean, men's testosterone levels were much, much higher. Like, women's estrogen levels were much, much higher. So when you're forced,
You think so?
Yeah. So when you're forced, like,
how do we know that part?
They've done studies on this. I don't have time to get too far into this. I got like 5 minutes left. But back to winning your ex back.
Okay, winning your ex
back. Do you have any other questions on that?
Okay. I'm going to ask you 3 quick questions. One, okay, first question is, how do you support men to know when to get their ex backs and when to walk away?
Okay, so in that situation, most people don't really care what you have to say about it. They really don't want to listen to like whether or not you should or shouldn't. Most people are hurting, they need closure, and even if they don't win their ex back, it ends up inevitably becoming good for them because right now they're in this convoluted, like they can't really figure out top from bottom, and they can't figure out why it happened or what they need to fix. So through the process of winning your ex back, it's not just about winning your ex back, it's about identifying the problem, what created this, what caused this.
Right.
So when people are in that much pain, it opens them up to allow the insight of kind of maybe the first time ever in their life where they actually have a moment that they'll accept self-development advice. And,
do you find that men will actually take accountability that they were the cause of the breakup?
Yeah, but not just men. I help women win their men back too. So it's not just one-sided. It's not just men trying to win women back and women being in this position of privilege and power, being like, well, fuck him, okay? Like, because a lot of women think that. But I help women win men back too.
Oh, no.
Because they fuck up too.
Oh, I agree on both sides completely. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, in regards to anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like for me personally, like when people are like, how do you want your ex back? My first question is, first of all, why do you want your ex back? Because if I was to get 10 of my girlfriends or 10 girls or a group of 10 guys and ask them what was the cause of the breakup, I feel
women
like...
will blame men.
No. Well, nothing that, but... Even like half the time, men will say too, I cheated, or I did this, or I did that. And I've had my girlfriends to be like, oh, I cheated, or I did this, or I fucked shit up. Everyone in my life is honest.
A lot of women have unreasonable expectations, and men have a higher variability for risky behavior, and that's that's something that's inherent within human beings. Not justifying it whatsoever, obviously, but there are factors. There are much, much greater factors.
Right.
But here's the point. When you're talking about like, oh, I don't get why a guy would ever want, or I don't get why anybody would ever want their ex back. So there are people like you, and then there are other people on the receiving end of that. And people who are on the receiving end of that are generally devastated, destroyed. They can't figure out what went wrong. They don't understand. They don't have closure. So even if we don't end up winning their ex back, we'll get them to a place where they now understand, like, oh, wow, this is why I keep going for this kind of woman. This is why I keep doing this same pattern, right? Like it's not as simple as like, oh, I cheated, I'm sorry. It's like, why do you keep repeating that same behavior?
Yes.
You might go after a type of girl who puts you in a subconscious situation that feels comfortable with you, but is also toxic. And then that situation ends up like kind of ping-ponging you around until you lash out and cheat back. And it becomes this cyclical thing that you keep repeating and keep doing.
Right.
And you don't understand like where the nuance is, why you keep doing this, which one of your 6 human needs you're neglecting.
Right.
So it's much more complicated than
I always feel like, because obviously we're going to end it right now, but I feel like that's number one.
What?
Is recognizing is this somebody that is healthy for you or unhealthy for you?
Absolutely.
And like you said, people taking accountability, and sometimes people are stuck in this devastation. I'm a victim. Oh my God, I'm so hurt. I need closure. That drives me nuts. You need closure? Yeah. Person doesn't want to be with you. Person says, I don't want you. There's certain times I'm just like, let's identify first, do they want you?
Yeah.
If they said no, they don't want you, if they cheated, like if they were abusive, if they're a narcissist, like I feel like that's my first question. First off is, why do you even want them back? Now, if it was something little like, oh, I have commitment issues and I didn't give the full commitment like it should have been, but now that I lost them, I want to work things out and they want to go to therapy and do things that's a thing. Like I think it's a whole different like ball game. But my first thing is I can honestly say from just everyone I've worked with and I've coached and I've talked to, the number one thing has to do with the person A doesn't want them, the person's a narcissist, or their abuser.
I mean, that could be what you end up like. That could be what your relationship to other people ends up attracting because of how you are and who you are. You keep getting the same kind of guy, and those same kind of guys are easy to dismiss because they're going through the wrong thing to begin with, right?
Right.
There doesn't end up being a lot of substance. You might also have. I mean, it depends on your ability, like how much oxytocin you produce, right? Your bonding mechanism. There are a lot of people who like
oxytocin where?
There are a lot of
when
people
I go shopping.
right? Yeah. Oh my God, I fucking love this purse. Like I'd be willing to bet that
I love shopping.
I'd be willing to bet you have purses in your closet that you love more than than a few exes.
All of them.
All of them. Jesus.
All of them.
So see, there's a thing, right? So like you have a very distant like relationship with men.
Yes.
And you don't love easy, and you don't get super attached.
Correct.
So it's very easy for you to let go.
Correct.
And then the guys, the guys that you're dating are probably going to come in and they're going to get super, super like, oh my God, let me win this girl over. So they're going to get ultra attached, and then they end up getting attached with almost an idea of you rather than you because they're never really getting to know you. So if you want to listen to the rest of this, we'll do another one. And then
you won't have to leave early.
I have podcasts. Like I literally did a 3-hour podcast. It was called Brains and Beauty Podcast with Galina Antonova. And I did that, and I talked about all this evolutionary stuff. I did that last week. So if you guys want to look that up on iTunes, that you guys.
Oh, and what's the name of your podcast?
Oh, I used to have a podcast. I don't do podcasts anymore. I don't give a fuck what people have to say.
How can they find it then?
No. That's somebody else's podcast that I did.
Oh,
it's called Brains and Beauty Podcast. It's on iTunes, and it's with Galina Antonova.
I like that name, Brains and Beauty.
I went. I just talked about a lot of this stuff, and I went very, very in depth with a lot of the things that we covered. If you want to have me back, I will get on here and I will rant for hours and hours, but I have to go, unfortunately.
Okay, so can we plug in his websites and his social media? Thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate you coming on, taking time out tonight. We had total miscommunication time issues today.
We did.
No, we had to leave at a certain time.
My fault.
Okay, so we will have him on again, and I think this is a really great topic I would love to speak to you about with getting your ex back. 'Cause I feel like we barely touched the first question on how we would coach somebody. It could go so much deeper and so more in depth.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. And make sure you guys give him a follow on our social media. Thank you to Mean Girl Lashes. If you guys want to have a sponsorship area, please make sure to email me or DM me at Unleash Your Sexy on Instagram, and we will take good care of you. Thank you so much for coming in, you guys. We loved you guys all.